Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. So Coach Steve Jackson used to play with a Tecnifibre T-Fight 305, the one with the samurai, the black samurai. And then they switched it to the French colors, the DC3, I believe it was called, technology, the Dynacore. He's loved those two rackets and then since have not loved them after that. What's going on? Stay tuned. All right, so coffee sponsor of the day is my man Patrick. Patrick is a member of the Buy Me a Coffee Club for Tennis Spin. So big shout out to Patrick for hooking me up once a month. I appreciate you supporting the channel and my coffee habit. I appreciate you. If you want to buy me a coffee, network is buymeacoffee.com/tennis spin. Thank you all for keeping the Java train rolling. Toot toot. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. So, when I first met Coach Jackson 15 years ago, he was playing with a Dunlop Aerogel 200. You know that blue racket? That was when he was younger and probably stronger and more fit. Not that he's not that way now. And then he switched over to the 300 because it was a little stiffer and a little more powerful. If you remember, that Aerogel 300 was red. And then he got into some Tecnifibre rackets. He was one of the first people to try the Tecnifibre T-Fight 305. It was with that black racket with the samurais. And I was like, that's a cool cosmetically painted racket. All right, so we all thought it was really cool. He got a bunch of his kids to use it, and they started doing it. A couple years later, Tecnifibre switched to the Dynacore, you know, the red, the blue, and the white racket, and Coach Jackson still loved that. So they were both really great. After that, though, when they switched to the XTC line, which was more white, something changed. What happened? Right? And then from then on, Coach Jackson didn't like the racket. I mean, us in the industry, like myself, we look at the racket and we look at the specs. And usually the specs kind of look identical. So we all normally assume that, oh, nothing's really changed. It's just a paint job. But something did change on these. But what did they change? We're going to go out to the court and have Coach Jackson explain it to us. All right? So we'll take it back on the court. See you there. All right, so I actually got the man himself with the rackets. So Coach Steve Jackson is here. And we have kind of the history of his rackets. And when he said that he liked this one over any other T-Fight 305, I was like, oh man, really? You usually just throw a paint on it and send it on its way, right? There's got to be a different answer, right? But to backtrack a little bit, Coach Jackson actually used a Dunlop 300 4D braided version, Aerogel. And then prior to this, he used the blue one, which was the 200. Yeah. So he went from really, really flexible to a little bit stiffer to a little more stiffer, and then kind of stayed there. He is now using the Extreme Tour MP. but I'm going to let him explain what he feels so that we can get a better understanding of what's going on here. This is very flexible.
Yeah.
The blue one before was even more flexible.
Yes.
And then the Japanese kind of samurai deal came in. And what did you feel with that one?
Well, I started with the 200. I was playing a lot and I was very young, and I can afford to generate my own pace, and I had to accept pace. So I needed a little bit of flexibility to accept the bouncing balls that were coming. But as I got older, I needed a little more help. So I went to a stiffer racket, and since I was with Dunlop at the time, it made sense to go from the 200 to the 300, and I liked it. But then I was introduced to the Tecnifibre, and I fell in love with this 305. It's got great responsiveness. It's really evenly balanced, which for me was important for a racket. I wanted a racket that was evenly balanced, that could get through the zone quickly if I needed it to, and I could also lengthen it out as long as I wanted to if I had time. This racket was perfect for that. And I'm a pretty flat tennis player, and I really like the 18 by 19 string pattern. It's the only racket that is an 18 by 19, at least it was the only racket. The 18 by 20, I felt like I was really too flat, and the 16 by 19, I didn't have enough spin to make the ball get up and down, and this was like a happy right in the middle for me. So the string pattern was unique, the responsiveness was great, and the power gave me a little bit more as I got a little older in my tennis. So that's why I went to this one.
Got it. And then after, I feel like about 2 years, they went from, which was, I thought, a super cool cosmetic.
Yeah.
Yeah. To, I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen that, but check out the, I guess it's a samurai dude is the only thing I can say.
Yeah, you can see the sword right here.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, right there. See the sword? Dude, I've been looking at racket like this for 10 years, and I never noticed that was a sword.
It's all about the details.
And then this one came along with the DC3, DS3, whatever the technology was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Dynacore.
Dynacore.
Yeah, and so this one was very similar in playability and style in terms of actual feel in your hand and responsiveness as the older Tecnifibre. They put a different color on it. It's more the French colors, I think. And, you know, they kept the same string pattern, the same beam width of 22 millimeters, which is what I think is the ideal beam width for a player, and the same weight, which is 305, which I also think is ideal for a playing stick in terms of you can get it a little heavier if you add a little to it, and it's not too heavy, just stock. So I felt this was a great racket. I think it's still the racket that Medvedev plays with today. He has got his own mold, obviously, but this is a great racket. It's one of the best I've ever used.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, Coach Steve, what happened? Where did it go wrong?
Where did it go wrong? Well, I think, Harry, you know, this racket came out and Dominic Thiem was dominating, and some of the other players were using the Pure Strike. And if you notice, the throat is very long. It goes really far down and even has a little inset here, which gives it a thinner beam and makes it flexible in this zone. And I understand the engineering behind it to try to give you more flexibility, but it really is for big swingers and people that want to stay way back on the baseline and buy time. It's not for the Agassiz or the players that play up on the baseline. So that's why you'll see Dominic Thiem, you know, hunting back there on the baseline. He's not on the, hunting on the fence, not on the baseline. So a bunch of racket companies decided to do the exact same thing. And if you notice, you know, these long throats, they're pretty much the same throat size. They sort of copied the long throat. And if you compare that to the original ones, you'll see that it's much longer than the original one. And so the responsiveness is not there for me. Someone who likes to play close to the baseline, someone who likes to take the ball early. I need this area to be very quick. And if it's too flexible or wobbly, I can't get the head around in time and I start launching balls and I have to start backing up on the baseline, which isn't my style. So now I'm not playing my game. I'm trying to adapt a new game to my equipment. And I don't think any player should adapt their game to the equipment. The equipment should match their game.
Got it. So we started running in that issue here. And I remember when I got you these, you're like, I can't. You're just saying I can't. It doesn't come with me.
Right.
So I totally get it after, testing these out myself. The newest one, let's take a look how much difference it is. I think we're getting a little closer there.
It's closer. It's closer. And I think it is closer. I think they may have made a bit of an adjustment, but it's just a little bit, it's a little bit long here. And this part right here is very long. And there's weight in here. And this part is very short.
Right.
And so when you're looking at how long that is from there to there versus that one, which is
he's talking about
here,
right here.
Talking here, right here. This very long.
Right.
And you can see it goes all the way in from here.
Right.
And so when you play with this and you hit the ball, all the weight is in this little zone right here. And so it's so hard to get the tip out because this is leading. All the weight is there and I couldn't get around. So when the ball's coming straight at you, it's not too bad. But when you're in a corner and you're trying to get out of a corner and you need that head to come around the ball, it won't, and you'll spray wide unless you're very strong. And if you're very strong or you play very far back, you probably can make this racket work. Otherwise, it feels great. It's just too long for me and my style.
Got it. So let's take there's one more thing I noticed here that you kind of mentioned that they probably didn't see. It's because it's white on white. You see how, see how that tapered throat down here is? I would say it looks like about an inch there, that it's actually tapering down.
Yes.
So it's actually elongating the throat here without us kind of knowing about it. Whereas look at this one, that's maybe half an inch.
Yeah.
All right, so it's causing more flex through this area. And I'm guessing that's why they put the weight here so that the flex kind of firms up.
Firms up, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I guess we're getting there. Maybe one more generation and we'll kind of get back in full circle to get it.
Let's go back to that Dynacore.
All right, so I do understand exactly what you're saying now. So when they redid every kind of model from this one on, they kind of made tweaks.
Yes. And I think this was the reason why. I think this was a good seller for Babolat.
Right.
And they thought, wow, we need to make a long, thin beam in here and give it more flexibility. And they sort of went down that route. And, these two rackets play similar.
Right.
But you have to have the right style to play with a long throat.
You got to be young, 6'3".
Yeah. Willing to play 20 feet behind the baseline.
Exactly. Hitting balls and run like a marathon every time.
Yep.
So for us, I guess we want to just put it away as early as we can because who's got time to be out there 5 hours?
Exactly.
All right. So thank you, Coach Steve, for showing us the way and having me understand, your history and why the new ones don't quite work for you.
Yeah.
But we know, and I know now, what does work for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you swing big and want to be in the Nadal, Dominic team, Zverev, whatever, these are perfectly good.
Yep.
And it suits your swing and your style perfectly. For Coach Steve, we got to knock them down in 2 to 5 shots. You know what I mean?
One shot.
Ace. All right. Coach Steve, thank you so much.
Thanks, Har.
All right.
All right, man.
Guys, thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Coach Good, check this out. Swing Vision got new commercial out.
Oh.
Check out his James Blake and Roddick. Oh my God. He's still playing?
I mean, he's still playing.
Whoa. Whoa. What? Dude.
That's damn fast.
I can do it. I can do it, dude. Back in the day, I could do that. I could totally do that, dude. You can do that. You can do that. Let's go, man. We can show them how it's done. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
All right.
85 miles per hour.
That can't be right.
No, that's definitely right. Man.
88 miles per hour.
That's not a gigawatt.
One more. Watch me.
78 miles per hour.
Hey, man.
Something wrong with this program.
Nah, that's just you, bro.
You try.
Fine,
Let's
okay,
see what
I'll do it. I'll do it.
You're going to go 69 right here.
127 miles per hour.
You can check out your serve speed on Swing Vision 2.
Doc, we got an issue.